Okay, so at this point we have drained the machine, we have disassembled it, brought our parts to the sink, we've cleaned them, soap, hot water, just clean them like dishes. The only thing you don't want to do when cleaning the parts themselves is put them in dishwashers or anything like this. These are all hand washing parts. Again, hot water, soap does the trick, gets off the old Petrogel, which is very greasy, so the soap cuts right through that. Also, the other objective is to get any mix that's left anywhere else on the parts as well. So let's get started with that. So what we have here, this is the sanitizer we use, and Sentry sells this as well. And also we use the Petrogel. I have that out for show. I have one that I opened already. Okay, the reason we use this is food safe. If you had put a little too much on it, got in your mix, nobody would even know. It has no taste. This is also food grade sanitizer. So these products work very good with our machines. Also, the sanitizer, like I had mentioned before, is a milkstone remover, and it's also easier on your stainless. So over time, it won't take anything away from the stainless of the machine. So we're going to start the opposite of the way we disassembled. So we're going to assemble from the bottom and work our way up. So we'll start with our hoses right over here. So we have our cane, the actuator. So with the cane in your left hand, to put the actuator on just like that, locks in. We're going to get our air hose, and that will attach to the end of the actuator just like that. We could get our duckbill valve. Now, duckbill valve has the circular side and the side that kind of looks like a beak. What this does is it prevents the mix from coming back into your bucket. It keeps it in the hoses in a line. So the beak always goes in first. And that's how that would look. We'll come over to our air meters. Now there's all different size air meters. It depends on the overrun you would like to get out of your machine. So since this is the part that puts the air in, you always want to make sure that this right here is clear of mix. And that way you're getting as much overrun and air in your product as you need. And that just goes right into the other end of your air hose, just like that. Next part we'll do is we'll do one of our red line hoses. So what I like to do is give this a nice check, make sure it's firm and the line's good. This is still a good hose, so we're just going to push this on here, just like that. So you see the eye of the actuator lines up with our red line hose, and it's going to make it straight. All these parts again can be bought from here at Sentry. All these parts are made specifically for our machines. You don't want to use any parts that aren't Electro Freeze parts. So the next thing we'll do is we'll get one of our hose clamps, put that down onto the top of this hose here, and just hand tight. All of the parts on these machines are meant to go hand tight. You shouldn't need tools, and you don't want to use any tools. It's as tight as you could get it with your hand there. Put another one of these on, bottom here, because the next step what we're going to do is this is how it's going to sit in your pump, just like that. So we want to put our braided hose into this end. Next thing we're going to do is tighten this clamp onto the hose. You can also do this laying down on the table, just have it in the air to show you guys here. So that's how it's going to look in the machine. Okay, so now we assembled the hoses and we're going to place them in the machine. So the way I like to do that is I call the red line hose the smile. So we'll just go from the right side of the smile here. I'm going to put that into the right side of the pump, just like that. Okay. So the reason I like to put that side in first is so we can use our cane as leverage and come around the rollers and just use the cane to push up. So after it's in just like this, you make sure the red line is straight. That's indicating it's not twisted. so these rollers won't cut into it. Another thing you want to do when the hose is in there is make sure the hose is in the middle of the rollers and not on the edges. The edge of the rollers will cut into this hose, so that's why we're making sure it's in the middle of the rollers. We'll come up here to our air hose. There's a little clip in the back that we could just clip that to. And then we're going to close our boot. And this goes hand tight like everything else. You do want to keep turning the boot until you can physically not turn it anymore. That's what's securing the hose and pushing the mix consistently up to your cylinder. So next is we got to take our braided hose and connect it to the machine itself. So we get our last clamp, put on the edge of the braided hose here, and connect it to the machine. And then just tighten the clamp onto the braided hose, hand tight. So that's the way the hose should look when you're done assembling it. Then last but not least for the assembly is the mix cover.